Welcome back to American Sunrise. You're already drinking coffee, but is it doing anything for you other than giving you a caffeine spike? Rejuvenate Coffee is different. It's science-backed, infused with CAAKG, a powerful compound studied for its ability to support longevity, cellular energy, and metabolism at the deepest level. That means sharper mornings, no crash, more focus, and long-term benefits that your body will thank you for. I drink it because I care about my health, my energy, and how I show up for my family, for my work, and for the life I want to build. If you're going to drink coffee anyway, make it one that works as hard as you do. Head to 1775coffee.com/RAV and use the code RAV for 10% off. Start your mornings with something that fuels more than just your body. It fuels your principles. Don't just wake up, rejuvenate. All right, now that we are caffeinated, it's time to stay awake, not woke. And who is woke today? Oakland, California Mayor Barbara Lee. Lee says that President Trump is trying to dismantle democracy with his orders in Washington, D.C. Watch this.
This president is fear-mongering. He wants to militarize our cities, to occupy them with an outside federal force. And that is very dangerous. This is part of his effort to dismantle our democracy. And with regard to Oakland, we have our strategy also, similar to Mayor Scott's, on focused deterrence. Our crime rates are going down. We have our Department of Violence Prevention working with our police department and ceasefire. And in fact, the strategy, again, is very similar, reducing gun violence overall, which helps reduce assaults, burglaries, robberies. And in fact, we have a significant reduction in crimes. And we're going to keep at it. We're working each and every day so that everyone in our city makes sure that they are safe and that they feel safe. But for this president to threaten to send the military in to occupy Oakland, Baltimore, and other cities led by black mayors, first of all, this is a dog whistle. We know that.
For more, let's bring in Dr. Gina and Terrence to discuss this a bit further here. Dr. Gina, it's so interesting because what she was saying is the complete opposite of there are Republican leaders throughout the country that are actually sending troops to help President Trump in Washington, D.C., and she seems to have the exact opposite perspective.
Yeah. I mean, the problem, they just so need to come up with a different argument, because anyone that understands anything about the size and power of government knows that President Trump has done more to reduce the federal bureaucracy and the influence of the federal bureaucracy than any president in our lifetime, and he's going to continue on that trail. So they lose themselves in this ridiculous counterintuitive argument, maintaining that President Trump is some sort of dictator when all he's done from day one is hand power back to the people, Terrence.
Yeah, this is interesting to watch. Obviously, Washington, D.C. itself is a unique case study because the president has the authority in that city. There's a case that's playing out in California right now relative to what happened in L.A. to President Trump putting the National Guard on the streets in L.A. that ultimately could decide whether President Trump has the authority to do something similar in other cities. And so that's a case that I'm watching. The case itself has ended, but the judge in that case, it's a case out of San Francisco, hasn't made a ruling. I think that's going to be a critical case, and that ruling will be critical in terms of determining the kind of authority that President Trump has to help, if you will, militarize or offer security using the National Guard in other cities around the country, be it Kansas City, as I asked Congressman Alfred, or Chicago, Baltimore, any of the other major U.S. cities that are having crime problems. So that case out of California that's being decided in San Francisco, I think, is going to be critical, and it's one that I'll be watching.
Well, it is an interesting debate, Emily, because, if a president is allowed to go into cities and sort of override whatever local authority is there, it's great when it's President Trump and we know the motives are good. But it was really scary back during COVID when the federal government was handing down edicts to local governments and forcing people against their will to do things that were scientifically or socially unproven. And so, we have to always remember that whatever precedent we enforce or we set can be in the next administration, when it's not such a good administration, when it is more heavy-handed and for the wrong reasons. And that's scary. But hat tip to our framers, because how is it that they saw all of this in the Constitution and delineated all of this so well? It's just always amazing to me to watch it work in modern times that they couldn't possibly have predicted, Emily.
Yeah, Gina, I think the biggest thing here is it really comes down to those crime statistics, right? Because if you're able to prove that, yes, crime is a problem in these cities, then I'm sure that cooperation with the federal government or with any kind of law enforcement organizations to come in and clean it up would be great. But we're seeing it in Washington, D.C. as well, that those statistics get manipulated. And what is considered a violent crime? What is considered not violent? So, I think that's going to be a topic of conversation moving forward as this continues to play out. You guys, great discussion this morning. Coming up, actor Denzel Washington bucks the Hollywood elite as he touts his faith and refuses to bend to cancel culture. His comments are next as American Sunrise continues.